Can you beat Nioh 2 with only magic? No, you can't. But also, yes, you can. But no. Listen, it's complicated. A lot more complicated than I thought it would be. This was overall one of the messiest runs I've ever done, so here's how it went when I tried. So to start things off, you sort of don't have any access to any form of magic or skill points, so in theory, that should be the end of the run. If you're more familiar with the game, though, you should know about the Kodama Bazaar. To cut it really long story short, I ran this map over and over again to refresh the bazaar, as well as pick up items that I could offer. Offering items gets you a currency which you can spend here. You can get an item that summons your spirit that does damage. Sometimes. You can carry 3 of them, so great. We have damage and a means to get skill points, right? Wrong. My spirit is terrible, doesn't scale with anything that I'm aware of that I can really change at the moment. It costs a lot of resources to get one, and as far as proficiency is concerned, they're not even magic. As many times as I rolled this, they were the only genuine offensive choices I could find, so in theory, if you were to get untouched magic and you just do this fight until the end of time, you'd probably eventually get through. You'd need to get through 2 or more levels after this by somehow always succeeding on about a 2% chance, and I'm gonna level with you. I don't even bother doing the math here. This is so far beyond the realm of luck that I could maybe manage that I didn't wanna. So, instead I used talismans that give you elemental damage on your weapon attacks, and I know, the weapon itself isn't magic, but if it makes you feel any better about this hand-waving of the rules to start the run, I hope you can at least find solace in knowing that I'm awful at the game, and the first boss took me 20 tries. This is gonna be a long run. Also, don't forget, this game mandates finishers in case there wasn't enough proverbial knife twisting. Now, if this game knew the definition of mercy, I might have access to anything else by now. But here I am. My one saving grace through this whole thing is the fact that you can run away from most of your problems. Not all of them, but most of them. It really doesn't help that I have next to no idea how to use any of the weapons, key pulses, or whatnot. This game is complicated, and I am not. I eventually got to the fire boss, so what are you doing? No, but, just hit him with some water, don't be bad at the game, and everything will be fine. Which is why this took me 18 tries. It took me way longer than it should have to get used to actually managing ki. I didn't level anything but magic until near the end of the game. I was also in a rush because internally I kept thinking that this boss is easy. Because it genuinely is. Which made me more reckless. I took too long to relearn things like the fact that he usually kicks twice, but eventually I got through. I booked through a series of gorgeous locales to find myself at one of the most hellish fights of the last run of this game. With how much time I've put into learning its moveset, studying its tactics, and generally hating every encounter, it only took me 20 tries. I think I'd like to blame a combination of still just rushing because this whole thing just felt wrong. I didn't want to be using a weapon at all. I wasn't having fun. It felt like cheating. It was a feeling almost as gross as this nasty little snack. Sir, I desperately need another dojo. Please save this run. I'm dying here. It's harder to hit things with a stick than it is to cast complex incantations. Alright, today we're going over our times tables. I take it back, let me out! Okay, after getting my entry accepted via excessive cheating on my exam, the real run can begin. Right after a bit more cheating. Yeah, some of the dojo missions fit into a similar category where they're technically possible, in the same way that it's possible to win the lottery. The first one, though, just isn't at all. From here on out, weapons will only be used in the dojo because you could technically beat the entire game by just getting the RNG of a god and always rolling that 2% chance, but despite popular belief, I want to enjoy my games.
Entrust your lives to me.
If nothing else, I'm entrusting my education, which seems ill-advised with the facilities I've been given. I know there are multiple camps of folks. Those okay with some hand-waving to make a run physically possible, test the limits of a system within a game. I know there are those who want a more pure run, and I can respect both. But after ages of feeling awful, finally being able to do what I set out to felt pretty incredible. I can't tell you how happy I was to be able to cast something other than a buff spell. Now, this game has fewer elements than the previous title. With it being a prequel and a sequel, I guess we just haven't invented wind or earth magic yet. We did get some other spells to work with, though. Not many, granted, but it's nice to see some variety. I found this really creepy guy that just... I don't like him. He makes me uncomfortable. One of the newest spells targets weak spots, and in humans, it'll stun them, like so. This is more or less one of the only times I'll use it. I did get really sloppy in my play, but after only a single other attempt, he proved to be less than an appetizer. Which is great, because I find him incredibly unappealing. I guess I've been bumped up a grade for taking out the school bully, which is great news, because I didn't study for the next test. Higher grades are easier, right? Buddy, I don't think she agrees. I came to find out she apparently overheard, and I'm being sent to some remedial classes. So, for the record, this was an easy first try using actual magic. Similarly, this was another easy first try. Not even close. Then up came the next victim, who would Yeah, I'm not farming out more levels just to make the difference in this fight. I think I've maybe proven my point well enough already. 2 out of 3 is maybe passing. Ah, beautiful waters, lush forest. Honestly, this place looks incredible. I've been so busy with my studies that I've forgotten to take things slowly. Enjoy the natural world around me. Stop to smell the... Who the hell are you? Right? Back to it. Now, despite how often I run from things, believe it or not, I do genuinely stop to fight things sometimes. Clear out the area to clear my head. Helps me to navigate, because despite having a full run under my belt, I have no idea where I'm usually going. The issue with facing your problems, though, is that you can't face them all at once. And fight a nickel for every time I've been beaten by the true boss of every game that is gravity. I'd be able to retire in a calm little grove, far from any cliffs. But I don't, so I can't. Instead, I get to fight this thing. Good luck! Yeah, I'm gonna need it. Without blocking, this fight is a bit of a nightmare for me. The way that it can just casually dodge everything that I throw at it, bounce across the trees while attacking, making its movements really unpredictable, and overall kill me really quickly, means that I couldn't even figure out just how screwed I was in terms of ammo economy. To clarify, I'm not using items to heal, recover spells, or block. As much as I'm able, I'm doing things by the book now. Much to my dismay. I spent a really long time farming out more levels and new gear. This set gives me a mild bonus to resource gain, but it's more or less the best one that I could get my hands on at the time. So I poured a ton of my stuff into making it as good as possible. Felt like a waste, but I desperately needed the extra help. I needed to live longer, and I needed to do more damage. So I also got some more untouched magic to make things stretch a bit further. You could attribute it to the tons of farming, the added defense, or just feeling more relaxed, but when I came back to take on the boss, things just sort of went well. I was able to get confusion on the boss, which helped to burst the Kodachi down pretty dang quickly. For the record, confused comes from having 2 elemental statuses on the same enemy at once, and possibly some other ones, because purity does it too. Also, I have a purity spell, but it's not great. Regardless, new class pet, and it's adorable. Also a nightmare. I don't care how cute you are, bud, that doesn't make up for the encounter you just put me through. Just like that, though, the next dojo mission is unlocked, and the fact that I got new spells already is both nice and upsetting. Why did you make me wait so long for the first ones? I will take the ones you're giving me now, and I'm glad to have them. But why would you space them like this?
But I assume this visit is in regard to Inabayama Castle.
Actually, no. I'm here to ask the goat for help studying. I need a tutor because my level is way too high to be performing this low. So my assignment is to invade a castle. It's a good thing my superiors have a good understanding of the layout here, and thus provided me a means to navigate behind enemy lines to get through this without getting lost several times. That is a thing that definitely happened, and I'm not at all upset that I spent ages trying to figure out how to get in and out, only to eventually find the correct path, getting pushed off a cliff, and having to go through the whole process again because I wasn't sure how I found my way through the first time. It's a good thing that didn't happen, because that'd be ridiculous. I played really badly, but this boss does basically nothing to mitigate the damage repeatedly hitting them in the face, which, as it would turn out, was my face as well. Much easier to tell this go-around because it wasn't covered for the majority of the playthrough. Similar to how it's easier to tell when Hide's eyes are glowing blue because this Hide's are brown, unlike the last one. It's you! Whoever you... Wait, are you the person that stabbed me at the beginning of the game? I've got some words to... Where'd you go? Ah, whatever. I've got homework to do anyway. You guys coming? I'll get some juice boxes or something. Maybe some chocolate. That one's for me, though. You can have the juice. Hands off my candy. Ah, cultural performance studies. I don't fully understand it, but I don't think I really need to appreciate that someone else could find a lot of meaning here, and I think that there's something beautiful in that alone. So this guy is magic, right? And on my side of things. How do you think I could convince him to teach me that spell there? Because I would absolutely take a piercing fireball. Guys, come on. PE's over, we gotta go. And go I did. I was on my way through a really neat... Hold on. Stay. Stay. Good boy. Anyways, there's this really cool stage over here with its own spotlight. So this is the main stage, huh? Seems a lot more aggressive than any place I've seen, but I've also never been to one of those big fancy schools. I suppose stage fright can take many forms. You just wait here. I'll have a chat with the lights individual and see if they'd be so kind as to make things easier on you. Ooh, we have a dark setting. But there's gotta be something between the two that we can settle on, yeah? Just to make sure the other students don't get nervous. They're kind of embarrassed about the whole still not being able to cast thing. As much as I love the model design for this boss, it's really not all that difficult. Think of it like training wheels for the many times you have to deal with projectiles from a multitude of directions in this game. Don't worry, you're gonna do great. Because regardless of your performance, you're gonna do your best, and that's all that anyone can ask of you. See, look, your friends are here, and we're all proud of you.
We'll run red with the blood of our enemies!
I'm really glad you're not the janitor. That just sounds unsanitary. Oh, damn, is that you? Because this guy's cleaning up the place right quick. But he is leaving bodies everywhere. Probably have a word with him about that. I hate this place. I just want you to know that this improves nothing. All right, there's a clear gap here. Just let me skip. Yeah, that figures. Come on, come on. Open the door like your life depends on it. Because it does. Okay, okay. You can't stay mad at you forever. Ice areas are always so pretty. As are grass areas in games. Rolling hills and lush forests are underrated. Always allocated to the first level, but I'm just gonna say it. Lava? Totally overrated. Alright, sir. As someone using these facilities, I feel as though you've had a poor performance overall. And I would say that's also really well reflected by your boss fight. Come on, my guy. It's like you're not even trying. I'm not just bad at this game. I'm rusty and bad at this game. And you're still nothing more than a first attempt sort of guy? Come on, you seem so much more imposing before. Hey dude, where'd you lost to that guy? What's up with that? This place has spiders. I don't have a joke here, I just genuinely hate this place. Nothing against the map designers. Everything else is fine, and for those that enjoy it, I'm sure it's great, but I don't. This place sucks. As does this guy. Okay, not really. He's quick, but slow. His attacks have a variety of tells and paces, and I don't think I appreciated just how much I like him when I was playing. It's kind of annoying how much he blocks, but he's pretty manageable. I ended up using a couple of sloth talismans to slow him down to my skill level. It's the swapping between fast and slow that I think got me the most. Homing attacks coming with long telegraphs, same as his piercing stabs, all to trip you up before a quick wave of death. I suppose in that way, he resembles a music teacher of sorts. This lesson, the ability to swap tempo naturally, smoothly. And Professor, I dare say I've passed your class. You know, eventually. Of course, friendships can't last forever. Doubts in the self and each other have a way of creeping in. People tend to grow apart because they grow in different directions. It's the communication that holds us together on the same path. And this is one dynamic duo that didn't do their due diligence. Remember to talk to those you love. Touch base and make sure you have an idea as to where they're at. In all things, and especially relationships, be it platonic or romantic, communication is key. I don't know, I think I would have just preferred some extra credit. I would like, though, to take this bullet-filled area as an opportunity to say that I really appreciate that I only have to start opening doors to progress. Speaking of, though, I made my way to this guy, and I had a sneaking suspicion that after the hell that I went through in the last run, this was going to be a pleasant change of pace. For the first time in this run, the Gust Talisman would be helpful. Counterintuitively, I want to get shot as much as possible. His bullets reflect while the buff is active, so I do more damage by standing still through most of his moveset. And before you ask, no, the Gust Talisman doesn't work against most projectiles. Wind blasts from Toby, elemental attacks from everything. So it may have only really shined here, but god damn did it shine. But of course, I'm not allowed to have anything nice. Can't savor victories, so of course the game gave me not one, but 2 smithing texts for this guy in a run that will use neither. Really just twisting the knife on an eventual ranged run. Here's your arachnophobia warning, in 3, 2, 1, because right after the fact is a load of bull. Nah, but with the size of it, the multi-hit from lightning in conjunction with its poor lightning defense meant it went down shockingly quick. Ice Spider weak point. It was overall an enlightening experience for us both. If you see what Eyes did there. Thanks to my previous experience, I knows just what to do. I suppose that you could say that damage is my lengua. Okay, yeah, that one's a stretch. Oh well. It's not like you're gonna live long enough for there to be beef between us. I'm at least 90% sure that your clothes aren't supposed to be doing that. I could help you work that out if you'd be willing to teach me that fireball. Well, it's not quite the same, but I did get some more magic lessons. As much as I appreciate the prospect of something new, though, this really wasn't the big jump in build strength that I was hoping for. Is it still a build if it's simply putting all of your Emerita into magic? I mean, I guess I've also got whatever spirit is associated with the element I'm primarily using at the time. Sometimes. Swapping them out was more work than it was worth for a lot of fights, so that more or less only changed on bosses for a good spell. Well, Oda's dying. Does that mean I'm graduating? Hey, I know it's a bit late to ask, but my credits are transferable, right? Right? So this isn't lava, but it's at least lava adjacent. Everything's all fiery, full of smoke. Isn't this just worse? I think it's worse. I want to go back to the ice and the grass. Next up was basketball. Why basketball, you may ask? Simple. Because I found a cat lady on wheels who said unequivocally to come on and slam. And welcome to the jam. Repeatedly. More than anything, I was underestimating just how long her range is, and I'll admit it, I got dunked on. I stand by it though, she's a really easy boss fight. She has incredibly long telegraphs, and I have no excuse for my poor performance, aside from evidently not giving the boss the respect that it deserves. When I finally took it seriously, I barely took any damage at all. So, you know, maybe 'twould be good to do that sort of thing more often. What is the wind in this room that your outfit is behaving like that? Here, I'll deal with it, Draft. Sorry about that. Also, I know I'm magic, but I didn't think they taught me telekinesis here. Yeah, I don't think I didn't see that animation. My hand was barely even near the door. So, I hate this place. Not aesthetically. Purely from a visual standpoint, this place is gorgeous. With a tasteful amount of fog, it otherwise seems like it'd be a nice place to visit. What gets me is how many people there are trying to shoot me without any means of cover. And I could of course swap in a Gust Houseman to gain immunity to their main means of attack. Were I a smarter person, I would. Were I a less lazy person, I would. Were I not an absolute god gamer who got through to the shortcut on my first try without getting hit, I would have. That definitely wasn't a fluke, just don't ask me to ever do that again. Last chance, Magic Man. Teach me your ways or I'm gonna transform you into a weird-looking yokai. Yeah, I don't know how that was gonna improve my situation. I was just mad. His fire side is weak to water. His water side is weak to fire. Just, you hit him. He's slow enough that some cautious play should sort you out just fine. Just make sure he's done attacking before you go back on the offensive, and he's easy. Now, about your magic. Oh my god, stop asking. Hey, you're magic too. Can you teach me to cast that? Stop. Just stop harassing people about magic. Whoa, hey, I know he was being a bit mean, but that might have been a little extreme. Stabbing him and all? Damn, maybe not extreme enough. You two have fun with that. I can't get to detention again. Jesus! Hall monitors, man. They'll wreck a whole city trying to help. What are they even doing directing traffic? What a maniac. Another one? Listen, I'm gonna need you to slow your roll. Well, maybe not that slow. Damn, these things are amazing. I found, though, that even without, he's just slightly too slow to do much. So if you spam attacks, he'll just dodge himself out of stamina. And he doesn't have enough health to really survive, even with a ton of wasted spell uses. Alright, Tigrex. I mean, Diablos. You. I'm not happy to see you again, and I know you're not happy to see me. If you can just be civil about this... Yeah, that's what I thought. So step 1 is to hit him with the Sloth Talisman to make him more manageable. You can get some really good damage in while he's sitting around. Even break his posture if you go hard enough. While he's phase transitioning, it can be really tempting to hit him again with more damage since he's open. But remember, he just bucked all of the debuffs you painstakingly put on him, so first order of business is to reapply Sloth. Then, don't get hit. That's kind of it. I enjoy when plans come together. I also enjoy when they're short. Not so tough when you can't move well, are you, big guy? Bringing down the whole discipline community. Is that a real thing? I don't know. I never went to any big fancy schools. I met a guy who was trying to help me with my additional education plans, but his clothes... Seriously. Anyways, while nothing else is going on, I'd like to take your attention to remind you to hydrate, ideally with water. Remember to check your laundry if you've locked it, and don't forget to treat yourself. Life is too short not to, and you deserve to have a smile on that face of yours. Doesn't matter if it's broken, crooked, clean, or full of greens. A smile lights up any room it graces. Also, the time has finally come to find my closest friend. Why? Because the Magic Man decided to teach him things instead. And he refuses to help me with my lessons, even though I know his schedule is clear and he's been asking to hang out for ages. I'm not entitled to his time, but he brags about it every time he's around lately, and I'm not having it. For using lightning a lot, though, he's really not very resistant. Oh my. That's a lot of damage. Despite seeing him pop up everywhere else after killing someone who was previously good-natured, I left as the Magic Man obviously couldn't be here. Remember to stay in school. And for those out of school, remember to never stop learning. Life's a journey of discovery, and there's always new things to be learned. Sometimes it's that you really should have spent the extra 5 seconds to see the guy you're after pop up in exactly the place that he'd be. Would have saved everybody a lot of trouble. Speaking of trouble, screw gravity. But also, if you know the game, then you probably know what's coming up next. No, not you. Kinda forgot about you here. I only died to a grav attack that I didn't see. Otherwise, dude's slow without sloth. With it, he's about as threatening as a cup of coffee. You expect me to waste my good jokes on you?
Wait, you have good jokes and this is what you've been making us listen to? Are you kidding me?
What? Get out of here! As I was saying, next up is the big man on campus, and he, So he's weakest to fire. Fire's tier 2 attack, though, is a small AoE. It's only kind of a multi-hit at the best of times. This took a lot of testing. I brought in pure fire thinking that it'd maybe do something. The short answer is no. The long answer is also no, but mostly that the familiar spells are absolute garbage at actual damage output. I eventually found what I believe to be at least nearly the optimal setup for what we've got going on here. I think it could maybe do with some tweaks, and I think you could squeeze just a bit more damage out of it by swapping sets mid-fight, but I really don't want to go that route. As it was, I wasn't anywhere near doing enough damage. So I left and farmed for probably several hours to get a new armor set, accessories, and whatnot, and a lot of hours just never make it on screen. My highest level piece was only a level 35. The current recommended level is 84. I was due for an upgrade. My current set still lets me invest all of my points into magic, which delights the goblin in my brain who likes to see big numbers. Yes. Yes! I did the best that I could do to maximize fire, elemental damage, and unlimited magic. I also got a heal on spell damage effect from an accessory, which is just amazing. After a lot of tries and a lot of time spent on this, I still figured I'd have to break and use a sacred brush. Believe it or not, no. You really don't need one. It'd make life easier, sure, but that hasn't really been the point of the channel so far, has it? You can avoid its eye lasers by getting close. I suggest using the tier 2 lightning spell on its right hand, your left. You can get a couple of casts off that way. When it does its other laser attack is the best time to use the tier 2 fire spell on either hand. The attack doesn't happen often, so the window is rare and short, but it clenches its knuckles together. Otherwise, shove yourself between its fingers when it's not attacking for your bigger explosive spells, which I had the most luck in doing on its left hand, my right. Try to hit 2 fingers at once with your tier 1 fire spell by firing between them, and hope unlimited magic procs enough to get you through. Remember not to perform attacks on its weak spot during the phase transition, no matter how much it wants you to, because that would be cheating. This fight sucks, but it is genuinely doable, and even with some damage to spare. You do have to end it out by blending it like it did with my hopes and aspirations for a while there, but it felt damn good to finally get to move on. Didn't think I'd get this far. No, my friend, he got really into Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm being banished to the Shadow Realm! Huh, it's a lot brighter here than I thought it'd be. Oh, hey mom, how'd you get here? Is that why you were never involved in my life? Screw childhood trauma, the next build upgrade is just after this mission. I gotta get the jewel, lower the water. After some repetitions, I found this drunk guy that's trying to party in some sacred sort of place that was underwater about 5 minutes ago, and you're in my way. After running out of spells because I wasn't thinking to change my setup and dying once because I was bad, I got through this because maybe it's harder with melee, but it seems really uncharacteristically easy for how far into the game this fight is. After failing my way forward, I got the single most impactful thing to my general quality of life in this run, and set off to find my counselor tortured to death. Wait, what the hell kind of school was I enrolled in? Regardless, right next to spawn is a revenant that you can fight that was placed here by the devs. It is a bit of armor that I want, and you can quit out of the mission to cycle what rarity it is. So, kill it, quit out, load in, loop until you get what you would need. Or, stubbornly push forward without the gear you've been waiting for several hours of gameplay for. It was time for the boss refight gauntlet, and okay, this took 2 tries. But both the Danger Noodle and the Cat Lady were easy first try victories. I can now cast significantly faster, and it's amazing. My DPS just shot through the roof, as did my ability to apply status ailments. I do struggle with feeling generally anxious, though, with this place after the last time. I'd really rather not relive that, but here I am, doing exactly that. Turns out, though, that to win, I'm gonna have to fight the school itself. And I'm taking you to class. Somehow. The early phase was mostly just testing. I gave the Gust Talisman one more chance to disappoint me, same with my familiar spells. Otherwise, I tested out the damage potential of my multi-hit spells, and quickly came to the conclusion that fire wasn't going to do much of anything for me in this fight, which makes my current armor really unfortunate. And now I could spend several hours of my life trying for a perfect roll with really bad odds of unlimited magic, but the odds aren't exactly in my favor. I could instead spend hours of my life farming for armor and the resources to make that armor usable. I'll give you one guess as to which I did. On my way back, I noticed these doors. Yeah, I don't think I didn't catch the clipping textures. Also, I hate this set's aesthetic, especially when sprinting. I did have to reallocate some stats to non-damage-based stats, but it's for the greater good. In a roundabout way, they're still improving my DPS. My poor, neglected DPS. With the highest damage lightning spirit I could get, I got back to the fight where I used the exploding paper dolls, basic elemental spells, and tier 2 water spell to take out the tentacles to push the boss into a state where I could hit her with as many lightning bolts as I could cast in a short time. Got well over half her health in a single go, so I was confident I could 2-cycle her. And it took several hours of prep work, but I got through this in relatively few attempts. It was genuinely a lot easier than I expected. Also, with a 34.6% chance to not consume casts, I got really lucky when it stopped mattering, which is kind of the perfect description of my track record with every game. Also, for those interested, here are my stats. Not my core stats, because I forgot to record those, but well beyond the soft cap. By the end of the run, leveling either magic or courage only increased my magic damage by 1 or 2. With the structure, as well as the concept defeated, I guess there was little left for me to learn there. It was time to move on to the source. I had to find my trader's friend, who was watching the single most egregious example of cloth physics in this game. It was as though every single frame of animation was rebelling against all of the others, each in constant struggle with one another, fighting for supremacy. Which could be the least accurate to real-world physics? Which could clip through the highest polygon count? With their powers combined, could they crash the game? Look, even he's confused. What confuses me on a conceptual level is how this sort of thing gets through. After countless hours that have been so lovingly poured into making this game a reality, what happened for a cutscene? A predetermined event with a predetermined model to come out so janky that, well, you're seeing it. At least, maybe. If you're not, I'm gonna take this slow so as you can understand, alright? This scene's broke as hell. Genuinely, though, it's a scene of the dress that this woman is wearing freaking out in a multitude of ways that is an assault on the eyes and an affront to physicists everywhere. And it probably doesn't even have pockets. Of course, my heart isn't made of stone. It's easy to forget a lot of things, basking in the soft light of twilight underneath the cherry blossoms. Even running through, feeling the cool breeze on one's face is disgraced by the most gentle of touches from stray petals. Such a wonderful sight full of the most delicate scents carried on the air. It's enough to make one forget that they have no idea where they're going. Maybe I'll have it figured out by the time I get to a third playthrough. I finally caught up, and I implore you, teach me your ways. I wish only to learn. Education by action, then. Well, thank you for introducing yourself to this class of one, but I'm pretty well acquainted with you. Well enough that it wasn't long before he fell, and I learned nothing. To his master, then. I finally tracked you down. Now, Magic Man, do everything you magic can to teach me, or I'm gonna break your magic hands. I'm on strict rules here, but I'll get out a crowbar just for you. I hate this fight. I understand that it's my own doing. It's my fault that I can't do anything about his summons. But they can burst me down with a ton of different moves that are at least somewhat dangerous on their own. When together, being hit from a bunch of different directions, all the while trying to actually finish the fight, it's a lot. I didn't die that many times, but it felt like so many more. Because it was just a question of whether or not I could burst him down before he did the same to me. There was no skill involved, it was just luck. I cheated not only this fight, but myself. I didn't grow. I didn't improve. I took a shortcut and gained nothing. I experienced a hollow victory. Nothing was risked, and nothing was gained. It's sad that with this fight, there is no difference. Alright, man, last chance. Teach me your magic. No! Do it yourself. Okay, this is your last chance. Teach me how to magic. Not talking, eh? I'll stay here all night if I have to. Ah, Lily, old boy. I see you're just as weak as ever. What, don't believe me? You just kept walking into explosives. This was incredibly easy. I guess he's here to get stronger through the arcane. Understandable. I'll take you on as an apprentice if you help me get the secrets from the guy who somehow knows how to teleport. Why do only the villains get to teleport? For those interested, I managed to find a clip of my stats heading into the last mission. Clearly a well-balanced character. Give me your secrets! I didn't think this through. Now this is your last chance. For extra super realsies this time. And jokes aside, I've said it before, I'll say it again. After everything I've gone through, the final boss of the game just isn't all that impressive. To what degree? Well, all it took was one. He changed elemental resistances throughout, but not enough to matter. In the grand scheme of things, I've got a long way to go, but I've got the rest of my life to keep learning. Building on what I can do. Slowly picking up things that I can't yet. And I may not be able to teleport or possess people with your techniques, but today, buddy, today, you get schooled. And the lesson is that the first version of your boss fight was way harder. Gotta say, you made yourself a lot weaker by only using one of yourself instead of countless buggers from before. But with that, I dare say we've earned our degree. Even if we burn the place that hands them out to the ground. I'll have to check up on Hide's progress another time. For now, I hope you enjoyed your time here. You probably know how to use social media, and I hope that means I'll get to hear your thoughts now and on any future outings. Until then, remember to stay safe, spread some kindness in the world, never let your curiosity die. Cling to it like the gift that it is, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.